Hello again, this is Old Man PHP. I create PHP video tutorials for the old guys who want to learn a new skill and compete with the young crowd. This is video number 70. What I wanted to do on the last video, I kind of showed you um, the HTML part of the whole thing, just the HTML part. And I said that in the following video I was going to discuss the actual contact form, which I'm going to do now. Now the contact form, as you can see, I added it here in the menu, and you know you've seen this before. All this has been, you've seen this before. It was a little different, but I kept adding stuff to it like this and these graphics. For some reason, it doesn't show in my old version of WhatsApp, but if you check this out on your mobile phone, you'll see them. They're there, or on your up-to-date browser, it'll be there. Anyway, so I added this and I added all this stuff. Remember that? So what I wanted to do is just discuss just the contact form and how the search works. And this is when we're going to discuss the PHP part of it. And let's go to the search. Let's go to the contact form. A little slow there because I'm doing other things, and I was doing that parallax. I mean the animation and the transition, like from left to. I showed you that in the last video. We'll talk about that. A friend of mine was telling me that I was going a little too fast. I said, "Well, I didn't read that on the in the comments. It's all because you never do. They never do comment. But why don't you do the comments?" But anyway, he called me. We were talking about. I said, "I'm kind of going too fast. He is learning things, and he likes what I'm doing. It's just because for him it feels like it's real, and he's sitting right next to me." And I'm like, okay, so what was it? So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna talk about the contact form. I'm gonna talk about how we search, right? We're gonna do the search, and then once it searches, right, it's gonna populate this stuff here. Then then we'll change something so it'll update, and then we can check it out by using the view database. So yeah, I'm going to do the new database, and we can see that I did change something. All these other things I'm going to do separate videos, so that way you can have. I would definitely cut the actual script like this in separate in the comment below. I'm going to put it all in there, and then on the very end, when it's like that we have done the whole the contact form, because basically that's all it is, right? That's the important part, because that's how it all started with the contact form. I started adding, menus and banners and all these other things. So, and then I'll give you the full blown. I'm gonna give it to you in pieces, but I'm gonna give you the whole full blown in one shot, and in the description below. But that will be on the last video. Now, I was also thinking on the different section, like right now you see we got section the search, right? This is where it starts, the section search. And this is where it ends. So I would have cut it. What I did was I cut a little bit of it. Let me see. Yeah, like right here. I kind of put it here separately, and this you're gonna get, right? All this in the comment below. And in the very end, I'll give you this whole thing with the colors. Now, I was thinking I will probably put borders on all of them, but I'm gonna do it like how I did it in the because we were talking about how everything is a box and the different. Remember how I put colors? I think about doing that too towards the end, and then I'll have it written in the actual script. So if you see like red, then I will put it here like section, red section, like that, or blue, yellow, green, violet, purple. That way, so you can see it. So when you look at it, okay, this will be like the purple. Then you can come here, search the purple, or search using these headers. These are comments, by the way. That's why I put when I comment actual commands, I kind of put 3 of them. And you've seen that before too. Anyway, so let's discuss a little bit about this contact form. So I create the contact form, right? It was narrow, so I kind of expanded to the whole page. Again, you can use this same technique, and you can use it for this form. Okay, it looks nice and everything, and it has parallax, and it has a picture in the background that stays. We can even have videos, but for now we'll do it like this. It's the same idea. Okay, right now we're just using the file name, last email, and the message. That's all we're doing right here. But basically, we're going to be just using this here because it has all the command, and this is all the stuff that I want to show you. So, okay, now that we're here, I added this little red box. You don't have to do this. This is up to you. But this is right now because we're learning this and teaching you the template here. My voice is kind of a little better because I've been using these things to help me out with the breathing and I can speak a little clear. And it'll go away a little bit, so I'll take a sip of water, then come right back. So this is what we do, right? So right now we're gonna use the search. We're gonna do search. Now from now, for the search, everything that's created here in these scripts here, we're not searching the city or vehicle or something. We're just gonna search using first name, last name, email, and we can also search this too. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll do we've got a search name. Yeah, I've been experimenting. We're gonna do Andres because I know Andres is in there. Where is it? Boom! Right, look, like this. We're gonna use the same form. This particular file, this thing crud.php is one file. I call it the landing page because it's only one file, and it calls itself back when you're ready to use this form, right? Because when you come here, you will see the form. I know I showed you it before. Let's go to find the buffer. Let's do the search right here. See? Let's go to the next one. No, let's do contact. Let's show contact. It'll jump down. By the way, this CSS tool, I also broke it down into a separate page. So in the description above, below, I'll definitely have this, and I definitely will have the connection part and the CSS part. Okay, that's what we're gonna have. But for now, let's go search for this guy. I should have done this like form. Okay, here goes. Here's the form. As I showed you before, because I was breaking it down. This is what it looks like. I'm gonna have this separate, which is here. Where is it? Let's see if I have it here. No, I don't. So what I'll do is I'll just copy this all the way, because in the long run, I've given you this whole thing anyway before, but in the long run, I'll have it completely done with the border blue. This one has a border blue, and we'll do different colors so that way you can recognize it better and you'll find it better for yourself. And let's go to the bottom of this, and then that way. But we're gonna break this down right now. Okay, right here. See, we'll do this. Let's copy this sucker. Let's open up a file. This is I'm using Atom. Let's go here. There goes your HTML. And remember, you can call it anything you want, right? So we're gonna call it. For now, in this situation, I'm gonna call it. What should we call it? We'll say study. That's how we're calling it. Okay, so that we recognize it. Study contact form. We're gonna say PHP. Remember, anything that you do in HTML, like if you did this like this, HTML, and you saved it and you run it, and you gotta make sure you put HTML. It'll run the same, but because we have PHP stuff into this whole file thing, I'm going to keep it as PHP. It'll work the same, even if it's just nothing but HTML5 stuff. That's it. Alright, where is it? We got it right here, see? Excuse me. Anyway, we're going to do the search, and then I'm going to show you how it's done. Now we got the search, right? We got the name. We're gonna say Andres. We're going to come down to the search button, and we're going to say search. It is search. I didn't have no message saying, oh, look, we searched it. We could do that too. That's something that once you're doing this and all that, you kind of figure things out, because you're going to see that other things will give you that. But for the search, I didn't bother doing it. Let's go down to the contact form. Remember I told you that once it's searched, I could have went straight to another file with the actual results. But what's the point? I mean, I'm trying to do this one file thing. That's it, the landing page. And it's a little slow because next time I just scroll. See? As you can see, it searched it. It searched Andres. It knows that my name is Rivera. It knows that the URL is whatever. What is the URL? What we got here? Oh, it's the actual website / Andres. I kind of did that so I can recognize it in the database. I'm going to do that too. When the time comes at the very end of this form thing, that we're using all this data PHP to search and insert and update and delete, I'll show you how the actual database looks like. Okay, so look, as you can see, the search, I should expand it a little bit more, but you can do that, right? It's fun. Then it also told me that I had this thing, test my site. I'm going to copy this, right? Because you can change it too. And let's say you searched it, right? You found this. Oh, okay. Now I want to do this too, but I didn't bother with it. But you will figure it out. And maybe I'll do another video completely when it's this Rivera, and I know Rivera has a favorite vehicle, and he's a male. I'll make sure that this also gets updated. But right now, I just wanted to do the search and just fill in from just this part of the form, right? So let's go to the top again, and let's go to a little slow because I got it. In reality, it will be this slow, okay, guys or girls. See, we're gonna do it again, and then we're gonna say right here. He said, test my site. Yeah. Let's go down. See, he found it. So I know I mentioned here I used this for. What happened was when I did this, I just had just this part. Then I said, well, why not? Let's also search using just this stuff. You know what I mean? And we can put everything in. But make sure you write something that you might think might have. I mean, you could have said test and probably would have found it for you anyway. Anyway, this is what it looks like. That's exactly what this is. So this is the form that does all that, right? So let's go to the search part of it. Because remember, this is a form, right? Where is it? See, form, it's going to call itself. That's what this is. And it's going to run back up to the top. Oops, sorry, wrong place. There you go. It's going to come. Remember, right now I'm saying study, but it's actually searching CRUD. I'm looking at there because I'm actually working off my local host, not my actual productive host, because it has valuable information that I want people to see. And it would taking me too long to edit and get rid of some of that information, like blank it out or stuff like that. I just don't want to do that. So I just took a piece of it and called it study. I mean, it's the whole thing really, but I just called it study.php. It's the same file as the crud.php. Okay, so here's the search section, which I'm going to give it to you. Where is it? Right here, search section. It'll be in the description. It's the same thing, okay? So this like I told you, the actual PHP command, I got 3, 1, 2, 3, and I wanted to keep these because this is like the different combinations of stuff, and I wanted to keep it. Now what happens is when it goes into the thing and those, see, because once you hit the search button in the form, where's the search button right here? You will see that in the bottom part where it says the search. Where are you, buddy? Here we go, search. It'll look, that's the name, search. It's within the form. It's all within the form. See, this is the back end of the form, the end tag. So what happens is it goes back, it reads itself, and then it goes to each parts. It keeps going down the road. It starts at the top, like right here, and then it goes all the way down to the, let's go here, to the search. Then it says, oh, is this, when you hit that search button, remember the name equals to search, it's going to look at that. So, oh, that's a post, because I am using posts. And here goes. There's 2 ways of getting information. You can do a get or a post. Remember I showed you the get is like query string. You get a whole bunch of information like right here. It's like a question mark and a whole bunch of stuff right here. I didn't want that because people can see that. I like that. I like the actual post because it takes the whole thing. You can't see. I mean, if that's what you want, you can do it. But in this case, I'm just using the post. And we got the form. See the method right here? Post. Right here. Remember I showed you before? So what happens is it goes down the line. So, this is the post from the actual element that you search. Name was like the search because you actually, and you set it. Once you hit the form itself and you hit submit, and the search button, the update button, the insert button, they're all search. Excuse me. Why didn't I turn that off? Okay, that's for my medication. So when you do that, what happens is it goes into the PHP, it goes into the form. The form becomes a post because you said it was a post. You get it like a big table. You don't see it. It's just PHP sees it. Then it says, "Oh, you did. You hit a search. So this is what this is. So you set it. So that's what this command does. Was this set? And it was, because the moment you hit that submit button in this, which happens to be the search button, it's all submits. It's just a different name, right? It goes into it. You say, oh yeah, you did search. So now it knows that this is the section that you need, that it needs to do certain things. So what happens is now it looks for the messages. Remember that message that I put in, which is right here? It search for that message and it says, okay, let's search for that message. Is it empty? The reason why I did this is because if I didn't want to search by this, like I got rid of this, I just wanted to search using like what you saw before when I just put the name and I hit the search and I went back and it kind of filled this back in, right? So this is what it does. It says, oh, if it's blank, then leave it alone. Just use this part. And right here, what it's doing is that it's selecting all my records from a table called temp table, where my first name will be whatever it is that comes out from the form. That's what this is, and this, and this, and this, and respectively, right? You got your first name, you got your last name, and you got your email address, and it searches for it. It says or. If you want to search this, then or do you want to search the last name? Or do you want to search the email address or the URL? And that's what it does. I didn't want to put them separate because what I wanted to do is have it connected. You can do it. You can kind of put here and say right here, right after this, and say, well, temp message like this. But for some reason, because of my old browser, it wouldn't let me do it. And I know, so far I'm going to be smart about it. I'm just going to cut it in 2 pieces. That's it. So if there's nothing here, it'll search this. But if I wanted to just put something here, It'll do the same thing. It'll search it, right? And it says, oh, you do have something. In this situation, you're trying to say that is empty. It will be if you're only putting the name or last name or email or URL as your search qualifier, then all you have to do and leave this alone. Then that's it'll when you do the search, it'll tell you, oh look, if it's empty, just do this because I only want to do this top part. If there is something here, then it jumps down to this part and it searches for it. You understand? It'll find it. It might even find two, like 2 or 3 different records that might have this, whatever it is that I had before. I forgot what it was. Test my site. If it would have had that, then but what's the actual thing? What would be the percentage of people who actually say the same thing? But the word test might be there. They might just say test, and you might probably. So what happens is that instead of having it come into here, there will probably be a list that you can create. And I'm going to do that too. I said I was going to do it, but if let's say if you did test for this, then he gives you like the different records, and just there will be a little box next to it. You click on that box, and then you only have to search for that one. Okay. But I will do that another time. But for now, this is what we're using. You either search using this part of the form or just this part, and that's what this is. And as you can see, I assign that whole message into a query string. I call it query string just as I could have called it anything I wanted, and it keeps going down. Now my connection, this is not doing anything. This is just getting things set up. That's all. So my connection is the actual thing. It's going to go over there to my form, to my function, and do the connection. Now I can find. I'm not going to scroll all the way down to get that function. So I put it in a separate page for you, which I also include. And this is what it will look like. See, my connection. That's what this does. See, it runs it. You go like this. It runs it. So it runs this for you. It looks for this. It's oh, okay, I see it. And then it creates a global dollar database thing. That's a global variable. And then I also did, the reason why I did that is because I also made this into a global user, right? But for now, because the way everything works fine, I could do if you could do it this way or you can do it this way. This is the global variable that you can be called from any pages. But since I'm only calling from one page, I kept it simple. But I put it there because that way it can remind me for the next time I need something, I have my commands here. You know, you can learn all this PHP stuff like that, but sometimes you forget. It's not like you forget. It's more like you need to work it out a little bit, and you'll remember. But I don't want to go through that process of, a few seconds wasted. I just kind of put it there. That's all. Yeah, I could do it this way, and then, do this 1, 2, 3, and then take this out and use that instead. Okay. Let's clean this up. Anyway, so what happens is you're defining a constant. Constant, remember we talked about, you can't change anything. So if you put a constant of db underscore user and the actual, see this right here, this is just for us because learn it, but you will have to find out what is your database, your username that you created on your side, okay? And the password to get in on your side. The reason you do that is because you're gonna be reading the database, and you gotta have the right credentials, okay? And you get that by your host. I'm using name, what is it? Name Hero. First it was GoDaddy, and I do it for some things, but then Name Heroes for really, I love Name Hero. Does really good, but we'll talk about that another time, right? So then I create another variable and I call it the DSN. And this is the actual command that you need. You're gonna need this because you're defining a constant, right? But then you're gonna do the actual command, because this is what's gonna create your what is that? Your object. So this is how it's done. You say MySQL because you're using MySQL. If this would be like, what is that, Sybase, or what's that other database that we use? Yeah, it can't come to my mind, but Sybase came to my, or Oracle, whatever. You will have to put this in here. And this is how it's done. MySQL, then you say the, what is that, double quotes, not double quotes, double colon they call it, right? I forgot what they call it. Yeah, I guess it's colon. Then you're going to say host equal. Now this will be the IP address, of course, because it's my security stuff and it's my stuff. I don't want the whole world to know about it. And you're going to have hackers knowing, oh, all his credentials is right here. Then we can break in. I want to do this. So this is something that you will have to change, okay? I made it 9999999. Semicolon, and then you're going to say the database name. And the database name, remember, it was temp. What was it? Temp table. Because you saw it right here. Temp table. Well, that's the table itself. The database itself is called, I forgot what the, oh, when I don't want to show you because people can kind of figure things out. Hackers. So we won't do that part. But you get the database name from your hosting company. They give you this information. And all you have to do is make sure they put the username, your password, and if you're using MySQL, put it this way. Of course, the right IP address that they have, and the database name. You put it right here. And then what happens is within that function, I want to try. Try means that it's going to try this to see if it connects. It's going to be perfect. Great, I like it. It's an object. So that's what that try does. So it creates a new object. Oh, look, I have it right here. The PDO, right? Object will work as a 12 different database systems. Look, it works with MySQL. Will only work with MySQL database. A great benefit of the PHP is that it has an exception, which I'll show you in a second, class to handle any problem that occur in the database queries. So if an exception is thrown, that's what the try does. It throws in a section. Then the catch will catch that information if there's a problem. So it's going to try this. Right now it's going to work. But let's say for some reason it was a mistake, you're going to try this. Then it threw out an exception, an error. And then it will come here. This is how it's done. This is old. This is for something else. I'm about to talk to you before. When you use globals, you're going to use catch. The moment you do try like this and you run this whole thing, the catch is going to catch the exception. If this is how it's done, this is how you write it. And I think we talked about this before, but this is how you do it. You say catch, and in parentheses you're going to say PDO exception. You're going to spell it like this. You're going to make sure the E is caps. And then you're going to say space, and you're going to get a variable. You want to take that error, you're going to stick it into this $E. That's what you're going to do. Then you're going to create a variable, and then you're going to assign that $E, which is an object, and you're going to run and what would you call it? A function. You're going to run it, and that's going to get that message. Whatever the error you got, it's going to get that message, and you're going to print it out. In this case, I had a separate file that will print this out for me. But in this case, I didn't care to print it out because I didn't care for this. The messages that we're going to get later that comes over here was, where is it? At the very bottom and at the very top, like right from these things, these little box things. It's going to come from something that we created. This one, you can create a separate page saying, oh, there's a problem with your table, there's a problem with the database, this the IP address wrong, that kind of thing. And then once that happens, you exit out. That's it. You're done. But it's because you know if you get this right, it's going to go like this. It's not going to catch anything. It's only going to catch the good stuff, and that's it. And who cares? If you want to put a file like this, like for something bad, like you got a problem, blah blah, you can put it here if you want. Or you could have just typed it right in here. You could have just say echo equals, there's a problem with the database or whatever. But you know, that's what that is. And this is the end. Of course, this is the closing of where is it? I don't have it here. I wrote it down here, but it's the she didn't have. This is part of, where is it? Yeah, right here. It's part of the whole. I'm in the wrong place. It's a part of the whole thing that closes everything for you at the very end. That's what that is. So don't worry about that. Let's go back to connection. It does this. It finds it, right? It connects to it. What's my search? Did I get out of the way? Okay, did I spaz? No, I did not. That's what this is. Now, once you got a connection, it looks like it's great. You're going to use a prepare statement. Remember we talked about a prepare statement? The prepare statement is just to prepare your query string. You see this query string? It's going to take what you created here before, you know, anything that you assigned. But I didn't assign like normal, well, yeah, in this case I did. But in some cases, you're going to see later when we do the update and all that, it creates a blind value. In this case, I didn't. See, as you can see, I commented out because I wanted to keep it for the future. But if you had a blind, you would do it this way. This word would kind of be like right here, and this word will probably be like right here, instead of the actual variable that has that information that you got from before when you opened it up. But it's not doing nothing now, right? So what happens is you're preparing it, and then once you do this, you're preparing this statement, you're using this statement, then it comes down here and it says, oh, execute. And what happens is, and you use this this method here. By the way, any function that's within an object is called a method. It's actually a function, but it's called a method because object-oriented programming. That's what they call it. And you're creating objects. Anyway, so you do this, and this is a method that you're using. And what it does, it takes this. See, that's part of that. Because you already created an object, you pull out this information in. Now you're going to say this object has a method, and I want you to execute it. And then what I did was I created a function, not a function, a variable, fetch data, right? And then I said fetch all. So now you executed that, you executed this, it found a whole bunch of stuff, and this one was fetches it, right? Then after you finish, remember, don't forget to close your cursor. We call it close, well, that was what they call it anyway. It's a function. What it does, it closes this connection that you had from before, it closes it for you, okay? Don't forget that, otherwise you might have problems. Then, now that you already searched it right here, now that you have it as the whole table of information, now you want to go through that whole thing, and you want to pull out the data from it. Now in this case, you're going to use the for each. See, it takes this variable, but then you're going to say as, and you give it a shorter name. That's all right here. You could have had a bigger name. You could have even kept the fetch data. No, we want it like this, as a data, another variable. That's all you're doing. So that one, when you call those pieces of it, you just do it like this. See, $data, $data. And now you're calling that first name and the last name and the email address, the URL, the messages, just those things. And you're also getting the record ID. Because remember, when you create a table, you want a primary key, and this will be the primary key. You know, like every record has like a number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you got a 5, let me see the 5th one on that table. That's what this is, the 5th record, right? So then I kind of created just a message with that record thing and put it in record ID because I'm going to use it to echo it out. And now you, of course, after you assign this, you come down a little bit, and that's it. See, this right here has been assigned because I put it inside the form. So if I went to the form, like for instance this one here, go to the form. Where are you, form? Here it goes. First name. Here it goes. See, before the first time you used the form, it was blank, right? Then you put that information. That's okay. That information goes out into the world, right? And then you do all this. Now you're pushing it back to here. So that way, as you can see, I don't have an exit here, like exit parentheses. No, I want it to keep continuing all the way down back to the form. Let's go to the form, contact form. Let's see. There it goes, contact form. Once it goes right back to the contact form, that's why when I went up there and you saw that information was in there. See, all this information, this is what happens. So when you go right back, then you go down to the form. Yeah, I could have had the form on a separate page, but I just kept it like that. That's why it's a pain in the ass, but you'll figure it out that you can put the form, this information, like the results in a separate page. So that way you don't have to go back, but I kind of left it all in the same page. Anyway, as you can see, remember how we copied that, what is that information? What is the name? This is, where is the form? Okay, right here. What's the first name right here? See? I'm going to put it over here, the stuff that I copied. See? Data, first name. Data, first name. You echoing it out. PHP. Remember I told you can embed PHP within the HTML stuff? If you don't have nothing in it, like you're not going to get any information there. But once you have applied or submit, like you did the search of that information, it went up and did that, where should I put it? It went about and did all this, is search, I did this, found it, blah, blah, blah. I create the select button. This the select takes all of it. Since there's only one record, of course you're only going to, if you have like multiple records with the same name, you probably would get the whole multiple information. But right now it's only one guy, Andres. When you're dealing with clients, make sure it's just the one client, not like multiple. You can have multiple clients with the name Bill, but make sure that the last name, email address is completely different. Anyway, so as you went through this, did all this process, now it pushed it back into it. Then when it continued down, right? Let's get rid of this. When it continued down, now it's echoing that information. This is why you saw it, that information within the actual form. The same form that you used to search. That's what that is. And it's the same thing with, of course, the messages. And that's it. That's basically it. You're searching that thing. You're doing a thing. Puts it in there. And that's it. You found it. You put it back in. And then when you go back to the form, which is here, you get that information because you embedded it. We're going to use the same information to update too. We'll do that in the next video. I hope you like it. I hope I didn't confuse you. I'm going to actually apply. I'm going to give you this form thing. I'm going to give you the search. I'm going to give you the connection and the CSS. The reason I will give it to you in a separate thing. By the way, I'm going to show you something before we go. You notice how you have like let's see, what's a good CSS? Anything that with a class in it. Because basically don't have the class because right now, well, right here, look. You know, this is style. We're using, oh, here we go, class sorry about that. DIVL, that's what you'll find here. Class.develop. Right now I don't have it in this one. And anything that you have in the form, remember I told you it's okay to have it embedded into this only if you're testing it out, but in the long run, if it becomes production, go to the very top, the part where it has it, and start adding it to your, like if you have different classes, start adding it and adding it to the bottom, because this might be stuff that you already have. If you already have here in the form of class like DVI or DV1, then you don't have to do it because it's there already. Only the stuff that you have embedded, like styles. So what you do is you go and you create this. What you do is you create a class. So you say class like this, and then just give it, I don't know, let's call it ABC, like that, right? And then what happens is you take this information, you copy this information, and then you go to your CSS, right? And let's go down to the bottom, because you're using it, put it right here at the bottom part, remember, because everything is layered. Say dot ABC like that. Then you go like this, you add this, and then you add this information right in there, like that. Of course, you're going to get rid of this crap, and then you're going to give this like this. Wait a minute. And this is it. You go like this. You make it look better, of course. Just push it over. And that's it. That will be your class. You save it. Boom. Make sure that you take all this crap out after you have done that. Take it all out like this. And boom. That's it. Now when you bring it up, which this is running from a local, this is running on my production, so I won't be able to change anything. Just didn't want to do it on the production side. But this is how it's done. Okay? Anyway, I'm going to have all this stuff. I'm going to have this file. I'm going to have the search thing. I'm going to have the my connection. And I'm going to have the CSS all in the description below. At the very end, when we're done with all the pieces and stuff, then I'll have the whole thing in one shot. Okay? Anyway, if you found any value and you like it and did a good job, or you think I can improve more, please comment below. And if you just give me a thumbs up, because it really actually helps me out. And subscribe if you think it's real. I'm going to give you some more stuff. I know it's a little, different than other people. It's just like you sitting right next to you, we're talking. Because basically that's what happens. Unscripted, and you'll learn like that, because that's how it is. You go back and forth. It's just like if we find problems before, I used to get little errors. What happens? I just fix it with you there, and that way you learn. Go back and forth. It's like you sitting right next to me and we talking. Anyway, if you like it, please give me a like. Help me out here, and on to the next video, which will be to update the database. Until next time, a good night.